It's 6:40, and we'll call the Streets and Sanitation Committee meeting to order, please. Frank's going to discuss a piece of ancient equipment.
We'd talked about unsafe equipment and everything, and old equipment, and we've got plenty of it. We've got a boom mower that we it's kind of unsafe, and the boom has been welded on several times. It's a 1990 model Ford tractor, and we'd pretty well decommissioned it because it's unsafe. And they brought it up about looking at old equipment and everything. And I've got one that I'm looking at, and I don't know if it's pretty expensive, but it's kind of a boom mower, but it has other functions to it. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is the multi uses that you could use it for. And once you buy the piece of equipment, it's got a 30-foot boom on it to reach out and bush hog the right-of-ways and everything. So the 30-foot boom, the piece of equipment, is $257,000. Then you can buy attachments for it. I was thinking of getting like a blower where whenever we mow the right-of-way, stuff gets in the streets and everything. It's got a front attachment, a blower that you could put on it to blow the stuff off. Or it's got a broom head. You could blow it off or sweep it off. But it's got several different attachments to it. And right now, the boom mower, only thing you can do with it's boom mow. It's a tractor with an arm on it to mow. And this one, we could might get different attachments for it and use it as different things. I've seen one of these up in Clarksville, and they really thought a lot of it. Said that it mows a lot better than the boom mower they got on tractors. I know it is high, but that's something that I'm kind of looking to get. We've got other pieces of equipment that they this one here, I've checked on the source well, and the company's out of Florida, but I checked on the source well, and they do not have source well. They got a thing, it's called buy-board, and a North Carolina Sheriff's Association contract, and they said we could use that in Tennessee if we do look to buy one. It'd be a little over $300,000 for that and the attachments that I want to start off with. Later, I mean, I'd like to buy more attachments to where we can use it for different things. But we do have several. I've got a dump truck that I'd like to replace sometime. They brought it to my attention, a roller. They don't have a rollover cage on it. And I've got a bush hog out there that's got a flail mower on the side of it. I'd kind of like to buy a bush hog for it sometime or another. Not in this budget or nothing else, but they, Carrie came to me talking about equipment that's kind of old and unsafe. that's kind of the stuff that I came up with. And, well, where we spray the sidewalks too, the tractor's what we got is open down. It's just a little nice person tractor. And, the spray kind of sprays back on you. However the wind's blowing is whether you get the spray or not. That's a issue to kind of look at too. We've just talked about kind of all the unsafe stuff that's need to be addressed sometime or another. I don't know if the other departments have some that need to be addressed, but I'm sure they do have older equipment that could be unsafe.
Do you mind if I make a comment to kind of let everybody know how this kind of came about? Is that whenever I was first elected, as I learned pretty quickly that folks tend to kind of pounce on new aldermen, and they, I've got this issue, I've got that issue, and so I had a lot of that going on, and some of the word that I got was, this commonly happens. Well, there was a group of a couple of spouses of city employees that reached out to me on social media talking about unsafe equipment. I did not give that the credence that it needed. So I got a wake-up call about 2 weeks ago that said, "Hey, you've been here 4 years now. We still got the same problem. What have you done? What can you do? What will you do? Or are we just not going to count on you?" And so I realized that group of people were serious, and I just didn't pay enough attention to it, and that's my fault. But they gave me specific pieces of equipment that their spouses or loved ones would make some mention to about operating, particularly a sprayer that sprays herbicides and basically it blows back in their face, and so it's either landing on their skin, they're breathing it, it's going in their mouth, their nose. That's one thing. Another was the boom mower that Frank was talking about being unsafe because it's overloaded for the size tractor that it's on, and it breaking down at different times. There's projectiles that come from it. There's an asphalt roller that has no rollover protection system on it, which basically means that if it slides and catches and flips over, who's ever on it's done. So I asked for a review of some equipment, and as it turns out, there was a lot of equipment that was in water and sewer that's been replaced over the years, and it seemed like Public Works has been the ones that we've ignored. So I brought it to Carrie's attention, and Carrie started it. And this is nothing against Frank or anything. We needed to look at it, and we went and looked at it, and it's in pretty rough shape over there. And with these people's lives hang in the balance of using this equipment, and some of it's 34 years old, and it gets used 6 months a year. So it's time that we do something with it. And that's the backstory of how it got to this point. One of the things that I would like to say, and then I'm going to shut up because I'm not on this committee, is that this particular attachment, or this particular machine that you're showing us here, Frank, there's a couple of good advantages. Number one, it's got a lower center of gravity. Yep. So if it gets off kilter, it's not going to turn over. That tractor, the reason it's weighted so heavy on one side is if it gets a little bit out of level, it's prone to turning over. So this is more suited for the terrain that we have. And anyway, that's it. I think this is a good thing if we can find a way to work it. And I would hope that could come out of the street aid budget, because this is something that's used to work on right-of-ways, and that tractor with the sprayer is used to spray right-of-ways and sidewalks and things like that. So I would hope that could be a street aid item that could come from fuel taxes. And I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one thing. This one is lower center of gravity, and it's got a wider wheel span. It's made for boom mowing. Most tractors are just, they've got a big boom on them. And, the tractor that we got right now, that's one reason the arm has been broke on it several times, been welded back, reinforced, broke, welded back. It's just the tractor is undersized for what it does. If you get off the right of way any at all, it's it'll tilt with you. And this equipment is kind of made for, that's why I went with this, and I think it will have more purpose instead of just a boom mower. That's really why I kind of like this a lot, is because of that.
So just by the conversation I'm taking, none of this is budgeted.
No.
How would you rate those? It looks, sound like you got three pieces of equipment, this mower, the tractor with the sprayer, and a dump truck that's not got a roll cage. How would you rate
Well, the
those?
roller.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The roller, I think I could probably get off of like local or gov deals, get a good roller. It's not something that we use constantly. I mean, we use it, well, since they've been in town paving, we've used it the last 2 days for 4 or 5 hours a day. But after that, we might use it an hour every week or 2.
Well, let me ask you a question though. With the recent asphalt recycler that you got, wouldn't
Yeah,
you be using?
I'll use it more.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so with that recent piece of equipment, they kind of go hand in hand, where historically we haven't had that, but now we have this piece.
Yeah,
They do, you kind of have to have both for subgrade and then for finished grade.
yeah. And the sprayer, that's something right now, it won't be used no more the rest of the year until next spring. That's something that I could hold off on. The mower is something that's, right now is the time we actually use it. Whenever the leaves are off the trees and we can see the tree and where we need to cut back the right of ways and everything. That's the thing now with the mower. But the roller, I think I could honestly pick one up on Gov Deals that's got a rollover. I looked them up, $4,000 or $5,000, a pretty good one.
You would just need some small tractor to replace the massive
Yeah.
person with the
Yeah.
enclosed cab and spraying the weeds.
Yeah, and, I've got prices, I don't care if that's a used tractor, if we can kind of get it used, and I don't see getting a brand new one for it, but most small tractors with cows, you about have to get brand new ones because there are not a lot of them around used.
Does this have any kind of attachment for spraying or no?
No. That would be excellent if you did. But yeah. And I don't know if we can, they might later on come out with something like that, but I'm not for sure. But I-
So really, the other two, the tractor and the roller, are, money-wise, pale in comparison to the mower.
Yeah.
If
They'll
we're
be a
looking
lot
at used
cheaper.
machines on those other two.
Yeah, they'll be a lot cheaper than, I think I could find used equipment for that, still in good shape. I've looked, I've called out here to Kubota, 25 horsepower tractor with a cab on it's around $30,000. So, but I don't know if I didn't ask if they had a used one or anything, but that's something I think we could find on some of the auction sites.
How do y'all wanna proceed with this?
Um,
You wanna just let him get some other prices on these other ones?
Whatever y'all think, I mean,
And what about the mower? Do we need to see about our, how to pay for it?
yeah, maybe, need to check on that.
How do you go about like the street aid? I mean, is there money in that to pay for this mower?
We'd have to check with Samantha.
Okay.
She would know.
There are pretty strict guidelines on how to use that.
Yes.
Sam would know.
Yeah. But like right now, I think a lot of the street aid money we have is tied up on the projects that we got, like reimbursing for the lights and stuff like that.
For a grant project.
Yeah, the grants.
So that might have
That's
takes
kinda-
some
That's
type
kind of where
of,
we got the money in
transfer.
street aid tied up right now, is because of the grants.
but those grants are out on the horizon, they're not here, but the money's held in reserve, the way I understand it.
Yeah.
So if we have an emergent need, we would have to backfill that with some type of transfer from the general fund, in the interim. And I think I had that right. That's, since this is not enterprise fund at all, so we don't have that
So it
to
could be
deal with.
reimbursed, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir. So the way I understand it is that we've got these DOT projects out there, right? And we've got a matching grant on them, but we gotta pay for them first. But they're not immediate. So that street aid money's sitting out there, but these projects are not immediately gonna take place. But we've got funds earmarked for them. So what it's doing is it's basically consuming a portion of that street aid budget. It's allocated over there, but not being actively expended. That's what that's the confines of the spend.
I think we could do some research, and come back and see if we can find a way to get these things funded.
So maybe have another committee meeting in 2 weeks on these?
So,
I'll
Yeah.
do the same.
Can we make a motion? Well, I so moved that we do the research.
What we can do with street aid.
I make a motion that we do exactly that, do the research and come back in a couple of weeks and,
I don't know that there necessarily needs to be action taken to fact find, but.
okay. That's fine.
It is fact finding, so have all that,
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll just bring it back in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Anything else, Frank?
That's it.
Okay, this
Thank you.
committee meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
We've only got about a minute and a half until 7, so we probably need to move the safety committee meeting just to immediately follow the full board meeting.
Sorry. Right here.
print my name after that, so you can actually.
I think it was a horse too.
Are you gonna fill everything out, Sam? You just need my signature. There we go. You're welcome.
It's 7 o'clock. We will call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the McMinnville City Board of Mayor and Aldermen. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Sally Brock,
Present?
Deidre Dunlap,
Present.
Stacy Harvey,
Here,
Steve Harvey,
Here.
Rachel Kirby's absent, Carrie Morton,
Here.
Bud Chastain.
Present. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. Each member should have received those in their agenda packet. If there are no requests for additions, corrections, or deletions, I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading and approve them as read.
so moved.
Motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item 3 is recognition of visitors. If anyone wishes to address the board, please approach the podium and state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Chad Graves, and I'm the president of Main Street McMinnville. And I wanted to publicly say that, we apologize for not having representation at the last meeting. Whenever there was discussion of road closure, but we will not allow things like that to happen again. We will always have representation if our name is on the agenda. And we want to improve our collaboration with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And we are thinking it might be a good idea if we come maybe once a quarter to spend just a couple of minutes and discuss the things that we have going on with Main Street with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And we would also like to invite you to a meeting with Kim Parks, the Tennessee Director of Main Street. So that way, this is on Monday, September the 16th, to learn a little more about what Main Street is in the state of Tennessee, and just learn more about what we are doing in Main Street in Mobile. Are there any questions for Main Street? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is recognition of employees. We have several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to address the board, come on up. Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, communication. Item 5A is a request for approval of the homecoming parade and pep rally event on October 4th.
With this, we do have a request, we've had a couple of things kind of come up with this in the past, in 2022, so the way I present it to you guys, we get a couple options to look at approval. The way it is submitted, it would be road closure at 12, with the majority of this side of Main Street, and then that would last through until the end of Ogden Street Fair. We're working in conjunction. Main Street sent out a poll and asked the businesses. We got a decent amount of response, the majority of which were in support of that. There was a few that were not. So just kind of get the options. The Park Theater has also been rented for a private event, and so we're trying to account for that as well.
Well, if you need a motion to approve that, I so move.
On those responses, on this page right here, are these all, each one of those different, a different entry?
I believe that they are.
Okay, so there's several different responses right there on that.
Yeah, and I believe they can leave comments on, with their response to do that. And so a lot of that's the comments.
So is this like approval, this, like what as I'm reading right here, it's just the homecoming event, but then it has all that other stuff wrapped up in it?
It's the homecoming and then.
And everything
that rally
wrapped
that
up
would
in
follow
it.
The homecoming parade.
So I'm not against the parade or the pep rally, but I do not think that we need to close Main Street literally
Agreed.
half the day. And then obviously all day next. Now, I know the Autumn Street Fair is participated in by basically everybody downtown, but from 12 to 10 o'clock, I mean, there's restaurants open and shops open, And I don't think that's, I mean, people aren't even gonna be able to drive downtown. I mean, that's a state route and a main thoroughfare right through the city of McMinnville. And,
So the way this is that this from the fountain down will be closed from 12 noon on Friday until Saturday night, right?
Yes.
All the way
The
through.
street fair, I believe, ends at 6 on Saturday?
At 4.
At 4, but wrap us and we get out.
Yeah, it usually takes an hour, hour and a half to get everybody cleared out.
And so it could be open, it could be closed till 3 and then open back up. And then that would do that, and that would give enough time for the pep rally, the parade and the pep rally to occur and then get out of the way and then.
I mean, I know another question that's been posed in the past is why the pep rally can't come through downtown and park at the farmer's market and people come up behind Main Street and Court Square. That way it's open back up. I mean, again, that's several hours of traffic being cut off right through the middle of downtown.
And I've been here for the last two, and it is a disaster, I'm just gonna say. Those kids start jumping off those things, and they start going whoever's in charge of that needs to let every kid know they are not allowed. Last year was even worse than the year before. They didn't even go all the way down Main Street. They started disembarking, and everything was, I mean, the parade was essentially over before it hit Spring Street last year.
But not only that, cars that are already parked on Main Street and Court Square, even though the streets are closed, are still taking off all through the crowds
Yeah.
and stuff like, I just don't think it's very safe to do it that way.
I've also had people ask me why we didn't utilize the farmer's market area back there for that in particular. Have we thought, has that been proposed?
Yeah, can I speak for a second? So, as far as Main Street's concerned, we really just want 12 to 3, whatever y'all decide the rest of the time. We polled everybody just to kind of see if that was, how that would work, because of the Autumn Street Fair, because of trying to get all the people off, because last year we had 7,000 people down here on that Friday. We will have probably the same amount because the school is closing again. I've already talked to Dr. Swallows, and he's already closing the school, so the county is out. We had a big meeting with all the departments and the police department, everybody, because we all need to know exactly what you said a couple of years ago. They jumped off, and so that was dangerous, all the different things. We looked at the farmer's market, however, the whole point of having the pep rally is to keep it downtown, like keep it down here, and so that they still like go to the businesses. They eat here, and they shop here, and they stay here, because every time we go down to the farmer's market, nobody stays downtown. So the whole point of that was to try to continue to grow the economic.
I feel like the
that day.
farmer's market is downtown.
It is, but I don't feel like my board felt like it would, the flow of traffic doesn't stay. Does that make sense? Like, I mean,
Have we
I get what
tried
you're
that
saying,
yet?
but, huh?
Have we tried having it there yet?
I've had it years ago, but I don't know how successful it was. I wasn't a part of it then. But that kind of, that kind of thing, I mean, it's up to y'all what you wanna do. I agree with you about the safety. Mike and I have already talked about it, and Chief Mosley, we've been talking about what we need to do. And because for some reason the past couple of years, Main Street got elected to start voting for those parade floats, so I've already told Chris Hobbs and I told the school, I said, they have to follow the directions of the police department, and if they jump off, they're losing points on their float. And that's a big deal for them, because it's a big competition, you know what I mean, for them. So we've kind of already talked about that, and then also just the amount of traffic that's coming into the city, because I know the police department was worried about that, because it caused a lot of backups when they let all the schools out, and we weren't prepared for that amount of volume of people we had last year, so.
I'm still of the opinion the pep rally and the parade can still take place without closing down Main Street for 3 or 4 hours.
And the safety part, I mean, that's really scary.
To this point, just as far as the public safety goes, I worked last week with some folks out, actually this week over at the fair, because there's a heightened level of security around the fair. We provided about 40 concrete barriers there because they're worried about people driving through crowds of people. So, I mean, I don't know, Mayor, who's in charge of that. I dealt with Regan Kelsey and Joe Clark on that. But that was enough of a concern that they had that I took them 2 tractor trailer loads of concrete barriers out there. And that's something that they've never had before. So I don't know how that plays out. I do know that in other cities where I've seen this done, Public Works has parked heavy equipment at intersecting streets to block off anybody coming through and turning on. That way the traffic was generally one way. I've seen that done, but there was and there is, and I think if you go out there right now, you'll see a bunch of stuff you didn't see before. There is a heightened level of security right now around mass public gatherings for whatever reason. Somebody's driving that.
Does the safety factor change from whether it's on the square or at the farmer's market? I mean,
The only thing
does
that
that
I'm,
change anything?
well, the only thing that I'm seeing is if traffic is allowed to come through, then if we have a bad actor that's allowed to come through, he can be 15 miles an hour down there and he can be 60 by the time he gets here and plow right into a group of people here in the lot. That's the only negative, but we still got to stop him somewhere, and if it wasn't for those guys over there at the fair asking me to help them and bringing it to me, I'd be right with you, Mr. Mayor, right now, 100%. But there was a reason that they wanted that over there this year and they got it. And I just wanted to make sure everybody here knew that.
Isn't 12 to 3, is that what they've normally been doing with the pep rally?
That's what last year.
Yeah, that's what we did last year.
12 to 3.
And we were done by we were probably done by 2:30. I just remember picking up trash until 3 o'clock and then opening the roads. So we even let them open the roads as soon as we were done, but that's what we requested.
Well,
So-
I'm okay with it all being down here as well, but I have to go talk to them kids about not getting off them trailers again.
And so part of that, we kind of talked about that as far as the parade, just make sure it goes all the way down, getting them off by the mall area, and then they could walk down the mall and come around kind of on the backside too, instead of having so many people flooding this way
Yes.
to get to the lot. And so we did discuss that as part of that meeting too. And I believe that was
Yeah.
related, so that could be part of that approval, and that would help with
Yeah.
that.
Well, I don't know who needs to, y'all have both been talking about.
So are we still closing this side for the rest of the?
No,
This would be basically option B, just closing it from 12 to 3.
Okay.
And then everything would open back up again, and then we would close it at 8 for the Elton Street Fair.
that's what I like.
So where does the parade end? Down at the farmer's market?
Basically, it's right where the bin's gonna be at the end of Main Street.
All the way down. We were talking about them going all the way down so they can, where they can turn in the best way, so towards the front.
That's
But like past
That
the,
would
fire
seem-
department,
yes.
and I know that, I know past the ways down there to security equipment.
Market Street.
Yeah, maybe to Market Street.
Mhm.
I think that's where it should end.
Yeah,
so it
that'd
goes
be a
all the
lot
way down,
safer.
yeah.
Yes. And then when they get in the backside, all the kids would come from that way and be off of Main Street.
Then that detour coming in from Mount Leo would be just at Spangler Towers, turn to the right, and then back around to come back on Morford Street. That would be the detour there, and that would take care of any traffic coming in right there. I'm fine with whatever y'all want to do. I just think that we need to think about somebody not having the best intentions at heart.
Is 3 hours too long, Mayor, you think?
I mean, I'm not the only one. I mean,
Yeah.
3 hours is better than all night and all afternoon.
Yeah.
I totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember, I think we closed at 12, I can't remember it last year. I felt like with the cars that were on the street, I felt like some of those parade floats were pretty big, I don't know, pretty big. That was just trying to allow some of the traffic, what was parked down, to get out. I don't know. Cause I think the parade usually is at 1:30. So.
I've got an Autumn Street Fair, wrench to throw in here. So, we always ask for streets to be closed at 8 o'clock, and that's out of respect for the downtown businesses. Our vendors don't like it, but I feel like we have to really defend our downtown businesses. So, especially the restaurants on Main Street. So that's why we have 8 o'clock shutdown time is what we always ask for. The vendors always say, why can't you do it at 5? Well, this is just how we do it. the wrench that we have with, and I love the homecoming parade, I love the pep rally, it makes it really hard on the street fair, because my leadership team, which we only have 13 this year, usually will go and mark all the spots a couple days before. But if we do that, because we do it with chalk, if we do that a couple days before, with the pep rally coming through, it'll probably all be worn away. So we just have to have a little bit of time after the parade to be able to, and people get out of there. So if it's at 3, maybe if it gets over at 2:30 or something like that, to give my people enough time to be able to mark that street before it opens back up. And I have no preference about opening it back up again. I think it's an awful long time for the streets to be shut down. I mean, coming from a business owner standpoint, it's a long time, basically 2 whole days for it to be shut down. But if we were looking at 2 or 3, if it was at 3 o'clock, at least my team could get in there and mark their spots before the vendors start coming in. But if the streets opened up, it's gonna be really hard for them to get in and mark those spots with traffic coming through.
Can you use some kind of tape or something other than chalk? I'm just, I
It'd
don't
be
know.
really hard to get it to
Yeah.
stick.
And it's super
Third.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so I guess it's just between, if we're gonna try to get it open back up as early as possible, if we could just have a little window of time, like at 3 o'clock, I think we could get in there and get it done quickly.
By what's your definition of a little window of time?
Like if, what time does the parade get over usually? Or the pep rally?
Everyone's usually at like 2, and then it's over in like 15 minutes, like we've been done by 2:30.
Okay, so
Last year.
if we could wait until 3.
The
Give
road,
us
the
30
road
minutes.
closure, if it got approved that way, would be till 3, so
Okay.
if everybody's cleared out of here at 2:30, besides if you're picking up trash, that would give you the 30 minutes to get in there
Yeah.
and get some spots before it opens back up, so.
I think in the future, it might be worth exploring having the school system better coordinate when homecoming is. The Autumn Street Fair's been the first Saturday in October for like 40-something years, and homecoming is somewhat more fluid. It's not the same Friday night from year to year to year, and I think that would remedy almost all of this.
I'd agree with that.
We did ask about the possibility this year, and that was quickly shut down, but we can have that discussion for future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
Well,
mean,
it's either that or it's not gonna happen downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that people want to utilize the downtown, but it is detrimental to businesses to have the road closures
Yeah.
that are being requested more and more and more frequently. And, that's my take on it.
My leadership team is awesome, and I know we're little and mighty, but we'll get it done, whatever it is, whatever it takes, but that's just 3 o'clock, I think we can get.
Sure.
All right.
So just to be clear, I would support a motion to close the street as presented from 12 to 3 from Court Square, Springs, where we closing
So 12 to
exactly?
3 would be all the way.
12 to 3,
Yeah.
all the way through. Okay, that would be that's option B on this,
Yeah.
correct? I would make a motion to support option B.
And
For the
then
road
again,
closure.
from 8 PM until the following day when
So it'd be going from 12 to 3 and then we close at 8 until after on the street.
Yes, sir.
so we have a motion to that effect. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Sally Brock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item 6 is petitions. There are none. Item 7 is unfinished business. Does any member of the board have any unfinished business this evening? Hearing none. Item 8 is new business. Does any member of the board have new business to discuss this evening?
Yes. I want to make a motion to reconsider the prior issue related to the Parks and Rec equipment bidding that we did 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Okay.
And I don't know, other than new business, I think there were some extra things maybe that Justin, I learned today when I went and met with him. So I think I would like to reconsider that.
Yeah, I know it was asked to look into, what was it, Justin? Is it TKO was that low bid?
It was.
And that 20-some odd similar entities to our Parks and Rec department were contacted and none of them used that TKO equipment?
That's correct. We ended up, Katie Smart is here tonight, helped call several different gyms throughout Middle Tennessee. We went as far as Sevierville, to Murfreesboro, to Nashville, to Chattanooga, in those directions, but there were 28 entities that used Precore, Nautilus, and Matrix, and none of them had TKO. I know it was requested that we go look at it, we go try it out, I work out on it, we do something, but it wasn't there. So, just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. We did our due diligence as far as calling other gyms and seeing what we could find and what they were using.
And that's really what my concern was,
Yeah.
you know, doing our due diligence, spending extra money. And I do think by the time they give us a rebate and all that, I don't even think it's really at $20,000 less. But we still do fall under budget.
So what about the rebate?
Well, they give us money back for our equipment that they're gonna take. So it's, I think when we did the math, it's really not even $20,000 more. It falls somewhere around maybe 16 or something like that.
We had a trade-in value on the bid sheet where they would give us a trade-in value of our equipment. What Ms. Morton's talking about is we had a trade-in value, but then we also turned around and they had a delivery fee on that. So it was almost a wash in those two when you looked at that. But was able to sit with her today and share those numbers.
Yes. And
So it is 20,000 or not, or is the amount different?
No, there is a $20,000 amount difference in the bids, in the two bids, the low bid and the one that I recommended.
And the one you recommended is?
It's the 72,000, which was from Direct Fitness Solutions.
It's all because you weren't here.
I know, I feel it.
And
I feel
they,
it.
they actually gave a 3-year warranty. I mean, they didn't, I don't think they had to, but they gave a 3-year parts and labor, which will allow, I think, staff to be able to maintain it after that if they're having anything, but if there's any hiccups with it. And he kind of showed me on the big screen the difference in the equipment. And I know you talked about it last time, but I always like to make sure when we're spending extra money. But we do still fall under the budget if we go with the higher amount. So we're still good on all of that, so.
Well, I mean, I don't know what, I don't even know if this is relevant, but I did have a strange occurrence. I was contacted by a fellow by the name of Michael Young, who, as it turned out, is, I don't remember what the name of the business is, but he is the vendor that turned in the low, the low number on that. And on the surface, it appeared that he had the most competitive bid. But, you know, to me, I'm just gonna say it, it's like this. He told me, he said, Rachel Kirby asked me to reach out to you and talk to you about this. And if Rachel Kirby sends me somebody to talk to me, that sends my antenna up. So I thought it was a little auspicious, personally, because we don't particularly care for each other, and that's well known. But, you know, I just wonder if is there any known affiliation between those two people?
I don't know that factually. I mean, I have heard there is, but I can't speak definitively to that notion.
Well, it was curious because it was Rachel Hoover. So there is some type of familiarity there, I believe. And Michael's from McMinnville, and I'm not suggesting anything is out of the ordinary. I just think it's rather auspicious when I get a phone call like that. And then we got the result that we got. And anyway, I just want to get that on the record.
Counsel, from a procedural standpoint, that motion failed as a result of a tie at our last meeting. If there is a motion and a second to reconsider that resolution, I mean, we can't do it tonight because of issues with public notice, but can we bring it back in 2 weeks?
Yes, you can.
We can deal with it tonight?
Yes, you can.
You have to, first, you made a motion to reconsider.
Yes.
That motion has to be seconded and voted on. If it passes, then you reconsider the decision that was made wrong first time.
Can that motion be seconded by someone that voted aye?
It can be seconded, but the moving party has to.
Okay, then I second that motion.
No, I'm asking, due to the rules regarding public notice, we cannot vote to purchase that gym equipment tonight, can we?
Yes, I think you can.
All right.
Let me get this right.
If the board votes to reconsider, and then the vote on reconsideration.
So Carrie made the first vote to reconsider, Stacy seconded, correct?
Right?
Yes.
Now we have to vote.
Okay. Now do I do the call?
But,
Are we-
hold on,
Call.
are we voting, I'm confused. 'Cause
You have
We're
to
voting
vote
to reconsider.
Or not to reconsider.
And then vote to purchase it?
And then reconsider the original motion.
Okay.
And the original motion was the committee recommended
Direct Fitness Solutions.
the $70-some thousand bid, which was not the lowest, but was determined
The best.
by less than a majority to be the best bid, even though not necessarily the lowest.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to
And a second.
reconsider
In a second to
And a second.
reconsider.
the recommended bid by Parks and Rec.
Then I have to do a call vote for the reconsideration, and then I do a call vote for the purchase.
Right.
If the motion's made
Correct.
Okay.
and seconded.
Okay. So let me do the call for the reconsideration. Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes.
Now I need a motion for the purchase.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Sally
Would you
Brown.
elaborate on that, please, for the record?
I'll make the motion to follow the Parks and Recreation Director's original preference for the Direct Fitness Solutions equipment as bid to the City of McMinnville Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I seconded it.
Okay?
No discussion. Well, I'm gonna stick with my vote because I spoke with Mr. Young as well, and I don't, the comment was made that it was similar to residential workout equipment, and I don't think that's true at all. And from our discussion, I mean, it meets the specs and seems like it's good equipment to me. I don't have any reason not to believe that. So I think we should save the $20,000 and go with that bid.
So when I do the purchase, you'll be an A. Correct?
Well, I mean,
I'll
we'll
vote.
do it in the roll call.
Okay.
Well, I looked at, the reason I brought it up is because I went and spent the time with Justin today and looked at every piece of equipment and all that, so.
And we also are still within our budget.
Yeah.
This isn't, it's just the higher bid, but we are still not going over our budget.
That's correct.
And I felt like we should go with what the director recommended. I mean, I think he knows the equipment and knows what needs to be in the gym.
But I think the number was 28 fitness centers that were contacted and nobody had TKO, and to me, that's telling in and of itself, so. Is there any other
And I-
discussion, any questions? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
No.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Any other new business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 9, resolutions. Item 9A is resolution number 2024-40 of the City of McMinnville to accept the WEX Sourcewell Government Fleet Card for all city vehicles to fuel. Authorizing the city administrator to issue the necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sally Brock, a second by Mr. Steve Harvey. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Resolutions, number 9B is resolution number 2024-42 of the City of McMinnville to accept volunteer fences bid for the tennis and pickleball courts for $39,764. For the McMinnville Parks and Recreation Department, authorizing the city administrator to issue necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and to express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Deidre Dunlap.
Second.
Second by Ms. Carrie Morton. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Item 10 is ordinances. Item 10A is ordinance number 2024-14 to amend Title 9, businesses, peddlers, solicitors, etc. by adding chapter regulating mobile food vendors with Exhibit A and expressing when the ordinance becomes effective. This is the second and final reading. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sally Brock.
Second.
Who? Second by Ms. Carrie Morton. Any questions or discussion?
I noticed there was a section in there that talks about on private property, if you're within so many feet of a residential, within 50 feet of a residential place.
Yeah, so it's 50 feet from any residential place.
So-
That was a recommendation by MDOT, so it could be on a commercial lot, but if there was R1 next to it, just keep it that distance.
If it's, so it has to be zoned R1, it all depends on the zoning.
Yeah.
So if there's an apartment above a business next door, that wouldn't.
Yeah, we wouldn't,
Okay.
we wouldn't draw it that way.
All right.
Any further questions? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Item 10B is ordinance number 2024-15 to amend ordinance number 1861, an ordinance of the City of McMinnville to adopt a new public notice and agenda policy and to set the time when the ordinance shall become effective. This is the first reading. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question of why we're doing,
So I can speak to that.
please.
So about 2 months ago, I feel like this was brought up, and I'm just now bringing it back to the board. We've been busy with other things, and I'm just now getting it back to you, but it was suggested that we clarify certain areas of our public meeting and agenda policy. I've met with Andrea and the department heads, and we talked through adding some things such as cutoff times and dates for getting material to Andrea ahead of meetings and whatnot. So this, the items that you see in gray in the policy are the new items. Everything else was existing.
So
I do have a
the
question.
short of it is we were having too many instances of the agenda going out to us and then like Friday, Monday, or even like Tuesday, the day of meetings, people asking if we could slip something into the agenda, and we just can't do that due to public notice, so.
Well, and I agree with that, but I've got a question, just given, so I can't remember one day I was in here last week, there were only 3 people only 3 people downstairs. So is this enough notice, given the fact that, like, I would imagine that you take vacation, so a lot of people would take, let's say for instance, Labor Day, all right? So, I mean, that, I know that wasn't before the second Tuesday, but if you've got a 3-day weekend, you know, you'd add a Friday. So if you get that on, Andrea, if you get that on Thursday at 10 o'clock, do we need to have some provision in this in case of some type of holiday or notice of vacation? Because it seems like we're putting you in a box and maybe limiting your ability to take vacation the second and fourth week of the month. Does that make sense?
Well, that's not the only thing. I mean, like they want something on, perhaps you want something on the agenda, but you don't have a quote. You get a quote after the agenda comes out, or they're waiting on other stuff. There needs to be a deadline. But if that person can't get the information by that deadline, we have to think, are we gonna just put something descriptive on the agenda and let it fly? Or are we gonna be in depth? That way the board has ample time to look at their paperwork. That's the situation we're at.
And I think that was probably the intent.
That's the
Was-
thing with the time provision. You need to get the information to the board that they're not making a decision by the fly. You need to be able to look at the time of your materials to say, hey, do we need to purchase this? Is there another thing we need to look at? By giving that information after it's been sent out, or giving it Tuesday in the meetings that night, you're not giving a decision factor.
Well, I think we're kind of saying the same thing. My concern is that's the reason for the change, and I totally agree with you. My concern was just the fact that if Andrea decides to take a vacation and this falls up and it comes in on Thursday, because she has a right to take a vacation, that's you. And so that's gonna be no matter what, we're not limited there. We've got a backup plan, it's all good. Okay, that was just my only concern about that piece.
Yeah, we can definitely, I've done it, I've helped her out before. and
Okay, sorry, just my ignorance there. I just didn't wanna limit her flexibility there.
I think we've hopefully addressed all those. There's some flexibility added into this policy to allow the mayor to do some things at the last minute if we really have to, so.
Okay.
Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is departmental reports. If anyone wishes to address the board, come on up. Mr. Main, do you have anything?
We're doing a bunch of paving this week, so I'm happy about that. I'm sure a lot of people are. So I don't have a list in front of me, but it's a lot of streets. I think they'll be done tomorrow. Is that right, Frank? We talked about it earlier. We received our street sweeper and our asphalt recycler last week. So very exciting, ready to fix some pavement. So that's all I've got.
Mr. Purtle? All right, if there's nothing else to come before the board, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
We have the safety committee meeting,
Oh, yeah.
just to let everybody know.
Yep.
So, you wanna get, Mr. Mayor, you need me to give them a couple minutes, let everybody that needs to do.
It's at your discretion.
All right, at this point in time, I'd like to call the recently rescheduled safety committee meeting to order. Chief Mayfield, you have in front of us for some turnout gear. Sorry. I was just looking at him, Nicole. I didn't see you back there at all. Sorry about that.
Yes, I'm coming out, to, ask the person to set it for us. We are fully self again, and we got bid them. So, I'd like to say, we wait on the quotes to come in, and it came in kinda late, but, back in May, we done it, and we done it again last week, this week, and, it come in the same number, so, I'll come from y'all tonight, to ask to get them turnout.
Okay, so we've got a total of 8, but we've got 2 quotes for 4 each.
Right.
And do we want to vote on each particular quote, or do we want to vote on them in aggregate?
We'll go on together.
Okay, with a combined total of 28,208. Okay. All right, and, so it's good to know that you're fully staffed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
I hope to keep.
That's,
Amen.
that's all of our, that's all of our hope, Chief. That's all of our hope.
They seem like they can work out.
That'd be great. All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the 8 sets of turnout gear from the Safety Committee in the total of $28,208.
So, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any other business that you have tonight? Okay, that motion will be to approve to the full board since it is over the department limit. So, Ms. Recorder, if you'll have that on the next week's agenda. Thank you, Chief. Chief Mosley, sorry about that. You know me, curveball Harvey.
I have a request to purchase upfit equipment for two of the new police cars that we have on order. It consists of emergency lights, sirens, prisoner petitions, protective push bumpers, consoles, and other aspects of it. Total amount for two vehicles is $15,683.18 from Truckers Lighthouse. The bid is off the statewide contract and reimbursed the Tennessee Knoxville contract, which was included in our budget.
Well, I don't think we can say no to this, so I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chief, and we'll get that done. Thank you very much. At this point in time, there is an agenda item to discuss older equipment, but we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'll shut up. We're ready to go home. Adjourned.